The first season of the Amazon Prime original series Homecoming was quiet, mysterious, and intriguing. The second season brings its own intrigue and some new characters to the forefront. But does it retain that off-kilter tone that its predecessor had? In Season 2, the story of Geist continues, and also their work on the berry extract that works with stress and memory function. This might contain some slight spoilers to Season 1. So if you haven't seen that season, but you're looking for a review of it, I've given you one. It's linked up here in the corner for you. Now for Season 2, Julia Roberts is out. She had tampered with the experiment and kind of overdosed Stephen James's Walter Cruz so that it effectively wiped his memory. But then we find out right at the very end that maybe not all of his memory is gone. Season 2 starts with Janelle Monae waking up in a boat out in the middle of a lake, and she's seemingly confused as to why she's there. Now in the 7-episode season, Eps 2 through 6 are pretty much flashback. Like we start with Janelle Monae waking up in the boat, and then we get to see all of the events that led to her doing that. And then from episode 6 and 7, it catches us up into the present and then moves forward from there. Now, the characters in this season are really good. I mean, not only do we have Janelle Monae playing Jackie, we also get the return of Stephen James playing Walter Cruz. And I like him a lot. I liked him in the first season. I really like him in this one. And because we know a lot more of what's going on from Season 1, we're not playing a whole bunch of catch up and we're not trying to just figure out some certain mystery surrounding him. We're just watching him piece together certain clues. One thing that I really like is that we get more of Hong Chau's Audrey. You might remember her mostly from the season finale of Season 1, but also she had small bits and pieces throughout Season 1. But we get to see her take more of a prominent role in this, and we get to see what happens after the events at the end of Season 1. I just like that we get to see her confidence build, that we get to see her exert power and just her intelligence, and just work her magic with everybody that she comes in contact with. She went from being a very minor character in Season 1 to being a very major character in Season 2. Another great addition to the cast is Chris Cooper. He is grumpy, he's rude. I mean, he's basically rubs everybody he comes in contact with the wrong way. But he's also very honest in his feelings and his thoughts, and so he just comes across as a straight shooter, and I really appreciate that. Now, Joan Cusack just chews up the scenery with her confidence and her quirk. I mean, I loved watching her in this. She begins about midway through the season and then just takes on a very prominent role. And she's just classic Joan Cusack. She has that weird intonation that she does sometimes with her voice and just her entire mannerisms, and it really fits with the entire feel of the show. Now, everything in Season 2 is pretty much straightforward. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it is a departure from Season 1. So if you watched Season 1 and you're like, oh my gosh, the mystery, the intrigue, all of the quietness and the brooding and the I'm not really sure what's going on, all of that is not really present in Season 2. There is a tiny bit of mystery here and there, especially as Janelle Monae is trying to put together the pieces from before she woke up in the boat. So there is a little bit of that mystery, but again, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's not a lot of like deductive thinking that we have to do in this. I mean, they just lay it out for us, and it's an entertaining watch. This one I don't think also has an unsettled tone like the first season did. That again, I think maybe that goes a lot with the straightforwardness of the story. We're not so much ill at ease at everything that's going on because there is just this huge air of mystery surrounding everything that we're watching. And it is still interesting, it is still engaging, and the actors, though, those are the ones that are the driving force in this drama. The cinematography in this is still really good. I mean, I like that they are employing the split screens so that we get to see sometimes the same piece of action happening from different angles. It's not overused and it's not distracting, but it just really helps to just add a little bit of visual interest to it. I also like how they frame some of the shots because it just creates this intimacy with the characters that we're watching. I like the soundtrack in this too. I mean, it's orchestral, but chaotic. And it's not always that way, but I felt that the times that it really came to the forefront where I really noticed it happening is because it was setting me off. It was just putting me ill at ease. It was making me feel a little weird or just different. And I liked that because it was just helping me through that episode, and it was trying to just mess with my head effectively, which it was doing, into feeling the way that they wanted me to feel in that scene. After watching season 1, I found out that the show was based on a very popular podcast. So I started listening to that, but I got distracted and didn't finish it. I don't know how closely the show and the podcast correlate to each other. And so I don't know if we veered off from what the original content was, and because Amazon, well, hey, we have a very popular show, it's doing very well, let's continue down this path, whether or not the source material has continued. Now, that being said, I enjoyed how they ended season 2. And while I do see the potential, small potential, for them to continue on, I really hope they don't. I really hope that they just wrap it up as it is and let it end, because it was a fitting end. It was a good end, and I don't think that it needs to continue on, because really, I don't think that them continuing down the path that they might be able to is going to add a whole lot of interest. I'm afraid that it just kind of peters out, and you want a show to end well. You don't want it to just kind of fizzle and die. And especially based on season 1, so good. And I think season 2 is really good as well. But I think the more they add on without really an intriguing mystery to it, because it's been answered, you're just gonna fizzle. So there's no sex or nudity. There is a lot of profanity and some violence. I give season 2 of Homecoming 3.5 out of 5 couches. So have you watched season 2, or will you be watching it? I would really like to know what you thought of the current season once you've seen it. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.